It's kind of crazy that Hell or High Water just came out a few years ago and I'm already comparing modern movies to that film even though it's not that old. Same thing with No Country for Old Men. If you haven't watched either of those movies, go do that. What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to the third official video of the day. A lot of content on this channel, a lot of binge watching, but today we're talking about the brand new Netflix movie, The Highwaymen. This is the untold story of Bonnie and Clyde. We've seen Bonnie and Clyde, but now here are the heroes. This is the story behind how they took down the infamous criminals, and today we're going to talk about this movie starring Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner. So a pair of police officers come out of retirement to catch the infamous outlaws, Bonnie and Clyde. And after I got done watching the film, I went in and read some of the reviews because I saw a moderately low score on Rotten Tomatoes, and not that I was completely shocked, but I was like, it's interesting seeing what people are saying about this story. Some of the points I agree with, some of them I don't necessarily agree with. I do agree that this movie is a lot slower than I wanted it to be. The pacing really suffers, especially in the middle of the film. It does pick up towards the end, and I think the final act in this movie is really good. And of course, our actors playing these characters, Woody Harrelson, good in everything, regardless of the quality of the movie. And same for Kevin Costner, even though Kevin Costner has not been in as high quality stuff as Woody Harrelson lately. Both of them I really respect as actors. I like them a lot. I was happy that they were cast in these roles, and I do believe if this was a movie starring different actors, it would not have been near as strong. And really, I believe the quality of acting is what carries this movie on its shoulders. Without Woody Harrelson, without Kevin Costner, I don't think this movie would have worked that well because the script, it's a bit overlong and the pacing suffers because of that. I think the dialogue, some of it's warranted, some of it goes down this path that I wish they would have strayed from, and I get it. I see what they're doing. These two guys, they're weathered old men, way past their prime. They were brought on to accomplish this basically impossible task at the time because Bonnie and Clyde, they were known everywhere, all around the nation, knew who Bonnie and Clyde were. They committed so many atrocities, they committed so many murders, and some people, yes, absolutely stuck up for them because what they did, they were really taking from the rich, giving to the poor, and some people were comparing them to Robin Hood in this movie, but you guys know the story, what they were doing in the process, the murders that they committed, the atrocities that came from committing these acts were awful, and these were the two men tasked with taking them down. How they go about it is a bit less interesting than I wanted it to be. I thought this story was going to focus more on the actual takedown of Bonnie and Clyde, and it does. There is a nice build-up and a really nice payoff. Once again, the finale of this movie is satisfying for some. I think for others it's going to be too much, way too much. But I thought it worked for the story that they were trying to tell. Now, I don't want to compare this to a movie like No Country for Old Men because they're two very different things, even though they both feel like they're movies about whether older gentlemen just trying to find their place in the world. This is not necessarily a Western, even though I'm going to compare it to two Westerns in particular, but looking at a movie like No Country for Old Men, the exploration of Tommy Lee Jones' character in that story I thought was just so much stronger than the exploration here. This felt more surface level, whereas that felt more in-depth and you understood his character way more by the end of the story. I was just engaged more with a story like that, and then comparing it to a movie like Hell or High Water, a modern Western, even though this story clearly isn't modern. That cat and mouse chase and the camaraderie between Jeff Bridges' character and his partner I thought was just better handled than a movie like this, and I hate to continue to compare because this movie needs to stand on its own, and it does. There are good moments between our two actors. There are some really good moments towards the end when one character confronts another character that has a role in Bonnie and Clyde's life, and I love that. That entire scene, all of the dialogue, the conversation, it was so interesting to see and to hear where that person was coming from. I'm not going to spoil who it is or when it is, but I'm just saying, that scene got me. And it's really moments like that when I look at The Highwaymen and I say, you know, this movie had potential to be something great. I don't think it's something great. I think it's something that is pretty good. I think it's going to have its fans for sure. A lot of people are going to love this film. And honestly, I expected John Lee Hancock to bring us a stronger directorial performance. Movies like Saving Mr. Banks and The Blind Side and The Founder, I believe for what those movies are, they're not the best movies of the year or anything like that, but they're really well directed and they're just nice stories. And this didn't have to be a nice story because it's not a nice story. I just think the story could have been tighter, the movie could have been shortened for sure, and the pacing could have been even better because I did feel the length at times. I was sitting there looking at the time, and I don't like doing that during a movie. I like being completely focused and paying attention. But once again, this is a movie on Netflix starring Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner, and I do believe it's worth watching because of all of those things. I'm going to give The Highwaymen a 61%. Didn't love it, but I definitely didn't hate it. I'm going to recommend it to you guys to check out on Netflix, and please comment down below and let me know what you think. If you like this, be sure to like this video. I'm doing Netflix reviews every single Friday and Saturday. My goal is to recommend movies for you guys to watch, and if you think you're interested in a premise like this with these actors, then I encourage you to check out The Highwaymen. And I appreciate you guys watching this video, or at least wanting to hear my thoughts, because it makes me feel wanted. You are the absolute best. I might have another video number 4 coming out later today. If not, be on the lookout tomorrow because Doom Patrol is returning on this channel, and then I have 2 possible Netflix series reviews this weekend along with the best and worst movies of March. I will catch you guys very soon.